So in this lecture, we're going to be talking about productivity, effective productivity to be specific. How to become more productive, because each and every day we face problems because we're not being as productive as we hope. When you study for 8 hours and expecting to get a B and you end up getting a C, maybe one of the problems would be that in these 8 hours you were not as productive as you thought you were. If a certain task, for example, needs 2 hours to be done and it takes you 5 hours, that means that most probably, and you know that it can take you 2 hours, means that most probably in these 5 hours you were not productive. So how can you become more productive? So first and foremost, mind mapping. Mind mapping saves a lot of time and enables you to consume information easier, thus learning faster. You could communicate more efficiently and brainstorming sessions become more effective. Therefore, you'll be more productive. It saves you a lot of time, and we'll be discussing time management in detail later on. But for now, I want you to understand the concept of mind mapping and how it can help you in being more productive. So when you're doing your mind map, what you're doing is you're taking a big piece of information. You're taking this whole piece of information and you are cutting it into small bits of information, right? So when you have a 500-page book that you need to learn all at once and you need to memorize, well, it's not possible. But if you go and memorize each and every page at a time, then it becomes easier, because the amount of information that you're consuming is not as big. In fact, it is, but it's not as complex when it comes to consuming, because you're taking it bit by bit, but eventually you're learning the entire whole, but you are learning it faster. And you can communicate more efficiently, because when you do each and every page at a time, your mind will be able to process the information better. And then eventually, if you're explaining or you need to use this information for an exam, for example, you'll be able to communicate this information more efficiently. Brainstorming sessions becomes more effective because in your mind, the information is cut down into different bits and different pieces, and then you'll be able to brainstorm by taking each and every idea that you need from the different parts that you learn. When you have an entire whole 500 pages, you will not be able to brainstorm as effectively, because when you dissect it and you cut it down, you have different pieces in the book, you have different pages related to different ideas, and in your mind you will associate these to different keywords and different concepts. Eventually, when you're brainstorming, you'll be able to be more effective because you have all the ideas in your mind already cut down. You just need to put them on a piece of paper. Mind mapping saves you a lot of time. Why? Just basically, I'm going to go through it really fast. The fact that you have a 500-page book that you need to learn for you to pass your exam, the fact that you said you have 500 pages will put this toll on you that most probably your willpower will never be sustainable enough for you to be able to say, okay, I'm going to start and I'm going to finish the 500 pages. You're always going to find a reason to procrastinate, and this is what usually happens with people. People procrastinate on projects. You have a project at work that is huge. Instead of using mind mapping to cut it down into different bits and different pieces and working on it in a smart way, you end up taking it as a whole, and it becomes so overwhelming that you don't follow through with it. You procrastinate it and you get closer to the deadline, and then you're crammed up and you work on it so fast, and you're not being productive because, well, you don't have a lot of time to work on it. When in fact, if from the beginning you used mind mapping to dissect this book and put into different pieces that you need to work on, the dissector, this project that you have, into different bits and different pieces that also you need to work on in a certain amount of time, then you'll be able to become more productive because you know what you're doing and every single thing is clear in front of you. You're not crammed up. And of course, you need to be using mind mapping correctly. So you need to ask yourself, are you actually being more productive after mind mapping? Because this is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to save you time and not waste it. So you need to access your strategy and see if it's actually saving you time to ensure that by using this strategy, you are being productive. If you see that, for example, for a certain exam that you have, or a certain essay that usually it takes you 5 hours to do, and you find that after doing mind mapping, it took you another 5 hours to do it, so it took you a total of 10 hours to do it, and you did not get a good grade, you did not get as a good grade as you expected or as you had before, then you might ask yourself, am I actually using mind mapping correctly? Am I being more productive by mind mapping this certain thing? Because sometimes there are certain things that don't even need mind mapping. You can't mind map each and every aspect in your life, because sometimes there are things that are just too small. There are some bits of information that are too small that you just can't use mind mapping on them. There are some things that are too huge that you can't use mind mapping on them. If you want to take your university degree and you want to mind map your university degree in terms of each and every course, going to classes, passing through exams, essays, and homeworks, you'll have such a complicated mind map that you won't be able to actually understand what's going on. So you need to, for example, dissect it into first semester, second semester, third semester. This way it will be easier for you and you will become more productive. But if it's so spread out or it's so narrow, then most probably mind mapping will not make you more productive. In the contrary, it will make you less productive. So there are 3 ways that we're going to talk about that basically fall under the category of time management. We're going to talk about these 3 concepts in terms of productivity and time management. So first thing is the 80-20 principle. When you have tasks and you have goals, you have plenty of them, you have 100 tasks and 100 goals for you to do in the next year, you need to use the 80-20 principle to be able to distinguish between the 20% that is crucial and the 80% that is not as crucial, and work on it accordingly. And of course, there are going to be lectures on each and every one of these sections, so you'll be able to learn more about them. But also the law of 3, which is basically in each and every task or subtask that you have, there are things that you need to accomplish in order for you to finish this task that is related to a bigger task or that is related to a goal. And you need to use the law of 3 to figure out the 3 most essential tasks that you have in this subtask for you to be able to finish this task properly in order for you to be able to eventually reach the goal. I know it's getting a bit complicated, but hang in there. When you get to the lecture, you'll be able to understand it way better. And eventually the power of 1, which is taking it 1 step at a time. Most people fail at being productive or at time management because they want to skip steps. As we said in the example where you have a book of 500 pages, when you don't want to take it 1 step at a time and finish 1 page at a time, you want to finish the entire whole 500 pages at once. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be more productive. In the contrary, you're going to be less productive. You're not going to manage your time properly because you don't know how to divide learning 500 pages on a spread of whatever timeline you have, because you're not dissecting it into bits and pieces, right? Now, gladly, it's the 21st century, so you have softwares and tools to make your life easier and ensure more productivity by saving time. There are a lot of softwares and tools that you can use for productivity on your phone, on your computer. Even just taking a piece of paper, there are a lot of mind mapping ideas. There's a lot of calendars or planners that you can follow that would make you a lot more productive. And just the fact that you are using these apps or softwares or tools, you are being more productive just by using them, because they were made for you to become more productive. So when you don't use them and you decide to use another way that would take you a lot more time, this is not you being productive, this is you not being productive. So by using them, just simply by using them, you are becoming more productive. Just by going on the App Store or the Google Play Store and typing productivity, you're going to find a lot of different apps out there that can help you become more productive, that have planners, that have different plans for you to be able to follow, that have different strategies for you to follow to become more productive. And also, what I want to talk about precisely is being productive using tools and softwares when it comes to mind mapping. There are apps like Simple Mind Plus, MindView, MindVector on the Apple Store. There's a lot more on the Google Play Store. Even if you don't want to use apps, there are softwares, online softwares like Canva.com that offers you a lot of designs and templates that you can use. I used a lot of them in the mind mapping course. GoConquer.com, mindmap.com. Some of them are free, some of them are completely free, some of them are not free, some of them are free with some premium features that you can pay for. But overall, Canva.com is free. The Simple Mind Plus, for example, is free, and I'm going to show you guys in later videos how to actually use apps like that or softwares like that. You can use them really, really easily for you to be able to eventually be more productive. People who use softwares and tools when it comes to mind mapping are usually 23% more productive when it comes to mind mapping and eventually managing their time and being more productive. So that being said, as I said, there's going to be a video that explains how to use certain apps or certain softwares. A lot of the templates that are in the mind mapping course, they come from canva.com. I use it a lot. I rely on it because there's a lot of stuff that are useful on it. And yeah, hopefully you guys will be able to learn it very easily, because it's really the concepts of using these apps, tools, and softwares is really basic, so you'll be able to get a grasp of it really fast.